Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, my name is Elder Price, and I would like to share with you the most amazing book. Hello, my name is Elder Grant. It's a book about America a long, long time ago. It has so many awesome parts, you simply won't believe how much this book can change your life. Hello, my name is Elder Green. I would like to share with you this book of Jesus Christ. Hello, my name is Elder Young. Hello, did you know that Jesus lived here in the USA? You can read all about it now. Hello, in this nifty book, it's free, no, you don't have to pay.
Hello, my name is Elder Bundy, and this is Voices from the Dust Radio for Friday, the 27th day of September 2013. We welcome you to our show. We're studying the message of the voices that are now whispering out of the dust to a world reeling under a political, economic, religious, and cultural tempest, to say the least. While the storm is raging ever more menacingly all over the globe, we are here sharing the reason for the hope that lies within us, the reason why the Latter-day Saints are Christians, and why you should be too. So welcome to Voices from the Dust Radio on this Friday, the 27th day of September 2013. Well, Fridays are the days we usually dedicate to our callers, so feel free to call in. The number is 646-595-3909. That's 646-595-3909. If you're at the Blog Talk Radio page for today's live show, the call-in number is displayed at the top of the player window. Okay, so as we've been discussing the parable of the Lord's Vineyard in section 101 of the D&C, the Doctrine and Covenants, we have been entertaining a new interpretation of the hedge that's protecting the 12 olive trees, or the 12 apostolic offices of the LDS Church. This new interpretation asserts that the U.S. Constitution is the hedge of the parable, since it protects the religious freedom of the Church. Without the First Amendment protection for the right of the members of the Church to freely exercise their religion, to say and do according to the dictates of their own consciences, the Church would have been destroyed long ago. That's obvious. But in the parable, the hedge gets destroyed when the enemy comes by night and attacks. This means then that if the parable is true to life, the U.S. Constitution gets destroyed by a sneak attack. Of course, this implies an inside job. No overt external attack is going to have the power to destroy the law of the land. We must therefore expect a covert attack upon the constitutional law of the land, and this is indeed what we uncover when we take the time and make the effort to examine the facts. It used to be really difficult to convince responsible people that this is what was happening, but today, with the internet and the ubiquitous smartphones able to easily share photos and videos over it almost instantly, it's easier than ever, if you can find a responsible person, to convince him or her that the Constitution is indeed under attack. In our short program, we can only cover a small fraction of the grave situation. So today we're going to concentrate on just the Second Amendment, the assault on the Second Amendment of the Constitution, the right to bear arms. I wanted to play a short clip to get us started, but I ran into technical difficulties and won't be able to do that. So let's bring on our first caller, Al, and see what he has to say about our topic for today. Hello, Al. You're on the air.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm hoping that both of your other brothers are calling in too. So anyway,
yeah, I've got a 719 area code on the line.
Okay, you should have two of them.
Well, so far I have one. Let's go to that one and see who it is. Hold on. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Maybe I can only do one at a time here. It's not showing. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, my name's Bob Bundy.
Hello, Bob. How are you?
Oh, just fine, sir.
Okay, well, Al, we've got Bob on the line.
Okay.
Was Charles going to call in?
Well, yeah, I told him to. I didn't know if he called in, and I don't know. I can't remember. I told him to, and I gave him the phone numbers.
Well, we hope he wouldn't miss All in the Family here with Al Bundy and company. Well, anyway, we decided to do this yesterday, talking on the phone, because of these ridiculous things that are happening with schools, especially. I mean, we know that the mainstream media is in cahoots with those people who want to take our guns, but now we see the schools, of course, with all the false flag attacks on the schools. They've given them a perfect opportunity, but they've taken it to ridiculous levels. Kids expelled from school for drawing pictures of guns. In one case, a kid was expelled from school for bringing a 2-inch long, one of those little guns that you use with toy soldiers. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then this latest one where the kid was playing in his own yard, that was 70 yards away from the bus stop in the school in Virginia there, expelled him for a year. A whole year. The guy's being held back in school for a year for playing with his toy guns in his front yard, his own front yard. What do you think about that?
Well, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because we used to do it up and down the street and around the house and on top of the house and in the other neighborhoods. We used to make our own weapons.
Really?
Yeah. I remember making our own with boards. That was really fun. I forgot about that. We used to.
Yeah. That was the whoever could make the best weapon was the highlight of the day.
I remember. Really, I think I enjoyed those more than the cap pistols that we bought from the store.
Yeah.
That Mom.
We didn't have them. They didn't have them back then. The thing is, we played the whole thing. I mean, we got shot and fell over and everything, so we'd really be in trouble.
Oh boy, would we ever? I don't know. If the kids do like we did. We even built underground bunkers.
Foxholes. Well, we used dirt balls for grenades.
Yeah, that's right. I always liked to be inside the bunker, but I really found that was not the best place to be. I always lost. I couldn't throw out those dirt balls out of the bunker as easily as they could be thrown into it. So
I don't know.
Turned out to be kind of a difficult thing to defend.
Well, when our weather was normal, we used to get some big snowstorms, and that's when we really played Army, because you could make snowballs and you'd be throwing them at each other as grenades and whatnot, and still and camouflaging yourself and playing war, and that was probably the most fun.
Yeah. It all ended for me when I got hit by through a piece of Celotex, and like a frisbee, and then I got hit in the eye, and that took me out for quite a while.
Well, I hit Roy with a ball peen hammer.
Oh, you did?
It was a Tommy Hawk. I threw it hit in the back of the head. I slipped out of my hand, I got real about it.
And you didn't get expelled from school for that, huh?
No, we was at the house there, outside of the house there. It was barefooted, looked like a bunch of Indians. And
yeah, I know. On East 14th Street, when we lived over there. But everybody, we weren't alone. I mean, everybody did that. I think because we were raised on stories of World War II and Korean War and movies.
Indians and cowboys at first. Indians and cowboys at first, and then as we got a little older, then they came out with more of the war movies they showed on TV. Because TV, I don't think we had a TV on East 14, so I think
we did at the tour. Yeah, we had one towards the end. And,
right there at the end, because I remember Mom buying a color thing and it had green, red, and blue on it, and made it look like color.
That's right.
Yeah, a plastic screen.
Yeah, had to put a plastic thing on it.
Oh, that was terrible.
Well,
I remember Sheriff Jim. Sheriff Jim was on the local television station, because in those days there wasn't any network that had that kind of stuff, and so he would play the cowboy shows. So when I came home from school, I'd watch Bob Steele or Roy Rogers or Gene Autry or some of those movies they would play. Yeah.
Rin Tin Tin.
Yeah.
That was. Gene Autry was pretty tough now. And there were some other ones. There were some other ones that were about the same time. I think Long Ranger and so forth, and Tonto.
Yeah. Tonto.
I don't know if they were. I don't know if they were trying to bring in the white man with the Indians and trying to make up to the Indians at that time, because you're talking about this Constitution thing, and they never did have the Constitution. They took everything away from them, the weapons and everything, and then it seems like we're in the reverse end of it. We're right where the Indians were.
That's exactly right. Yeah. The tables have been turned on us. We're getting some of our own medicine.
Yeah. The Indians can have all the weapons they want now.
That's right.
And then in Chicago and Detroit, I mean, all the ethnic groups got AKs, and they don't know what a pistol is. It's just like a war, The streets are becoming a war zone in Detroit, Chicago.
Yeah.
The old slums where they're going to shut Detroit down because of the slums and the crack cocaine and all the heroin and all the drugs that are taking over not just Detroit but everywhere. I mean, just everywhere.
Yeah,
no matter where you go.
The irony is the government is behind the. Yeah, they destroyed Detroit. And so then, now that it's becoming a war zone, they want to use that as an excuse to take the guns away from the rest of us.
Yeah, well, what makes you think they're not bringing all that opium over in C-130s from Afghanistan? Because when they were during Vietnam War, I talked to guys that were in Thailand that said they seen them loading up that marijuana from Thailand, and they looked like tree trunks. And they loaded them on C-130s, and it was the government that was doing it. It wasn't some blow Joe.
That's right, exactly right. And now, if Afghanistan, they had like 10% of the opium trade when we went in there, and now it's 90%.
That's how keeping them alive. Keeping them going.
Yeah,
they can't grow. They say they can't grow nothing else, but you know what I mean. They could grow sunflower seeds. I know they grow here in Pueblo.
Yeah, that's right. Great big ones. Yeah, it's really people have to wake up. We're trying to wake them up. I put it on my website in the situation update. There are videos that show the C1, how the C-130s are coming in loaded. Even I guess out of Vietnam, it was even more than C-130s. They were flying them in C-117s or 141s. I guess they didn't have the 117s then, but they had the 141s.
They had the C-141s.
Yeah.
Now they got.
What I'm saying about Thailand, see, war was going on in Vietnam, and it was kind of hard to hide things, because a lot of other stuff was coming in, and maybe there was some coming out of there, but you had to have a like an industrial setup, forklifts, trucks, so forth, bringing it in. And Thailand air base was, pretty much secure, and that's where all your main B-52s flew out of, your C-130s, your jets. There was a main air base right there in Thailand. And Thailand at that time, I mean, it was a Sodom and Gomorrah for the soldiers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was that, and
it
fed the soldiers booze and drugs at that time, and then played little games like my brother. I just played little games, and getting the little guy where the big guy was sitting in the camouflage, taking to the bank.
Yeah. It was. That was when the change really started. I mean, the CIA had been involved in a lot of things before that, but when the Vietnam War hit, and like you said, the Sodom and Gomorrah, and the morals of the troops decayed so bad, and the morale.
All of them. Yeah. Singapore, Thailand, Australia opened up at the end there, and then I talked to guys that went to Australia, and the women were just, it was just free for all for 5 days, but when you came home, the American people didn't really support and probably they had a reason for it, didn't support us, and didn't support the war, so you had two different crazy ends,
Yeah, exactly.
And so you go back, and then you go back to the Constitution. It's who's ever in the office. It seems like who's ever in the office dictates the Constitution. If it was Nixon, if it was Johnson, if it was whomever. It was Carter or whomever. You know what I mean? Up to Obama today, they're dictating the Constitution. They make their own rules. They don't
make their own rules.
Might as well just take the Constitution, roll it up, and throw it in the fire because they're Ho Chi Minh wanted to, after the French left Vietnam, he wanted to write a constitution like the United States and have the United States work with him to build their country. And when we said no, we're going to support France, and so 60,000 Americans went down to their grave, and I don't know how many millions of Vietnamese. You know what I mean? Because it could have been worked out. It could have been negotiated. He had a contract written out just like the Constitution that we had, and that's what he wanted to have. So
they want to destroy our Constitution. Yeah, exactly. Now, this Jerome Corsi is his name, has been on several talk shows the last few days because of his new book that has come out about the JFK assassination. And oh my goodness, to listen to that, that's when it really started. It started before that, but it really took hold when they took out JFK. And to listen to what he's uncovered is unbelievable. And of course now, what Nixon did and got impeached for, and was pardoned because he would have been not only impeached, but he would have been tried for, and Obama has done 10 times, 100 times more than what Nixon was impeached and charged with, and would have been tried for if he hadn't have been pardoned by President Ford. But they just it's in your face now. They simply get away with what they want.
President Ford become vice president because Agnew, he had his pockets in Vietnam and all the contractors, and he was all the money was coming to his bank because he was putting whoever he wanted over in Vietnam, building their bridges, building their dry docks, building their powerhouses, building whatever money they were, billions and billions of dollars, you know. Because everybody here in the United States at that time was working. I mean, the mills were working. The CF&I was on the top of the world. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I mean, when you got coke ovens were still working at that time. You know, I remember seeing stuff coming over from the CF&I, Nels, you know, barbed wire, concertina. But what I'm saying is that, and then they impeached him, and then what's his name? Nixon's vice president. What was his name? It was Agnew, and then who took his place? You just said his name.
Ford. Yeah, and then Ford ran for president and made president, you know, and then whatever happened after that, I don't know. But he took over for Nixon because he was vice president, and then at the end he ran.
Yeah, because exactly, and then And Nixon went down to California in his penthouse down there on the beach in Sacramento, and you know, went shark fishing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, well, anyway, the point is that these people are you know, they really want to take our guns, so they use any kind of excuse they can to do that. And when that doesn't work, then they have these false flags like this D.C. Naval Yard, the latest one, that then gives Obama fresh motivation to go after the guns in any way he can. And then yesterday, I guess it was, or the day before, Kerry, the Secretary of State Kerry, signed the UN arms treaty, even though you know the Congress has there's no support whatsoever in the Congress for it, and yet he goes and signs it. It's insane what they're doing, and they think they can get away with it because they have the press on their side, the mainstream press. But this last thing with Syria blew up in their face, where they had been shipping in the guns from Benghazi and really murdered the ambassador and those other guys with him to cover it up. And now they're just in your face, we're going to finance Al-Qaeda in Syria. And they just announced it. So I don't know if there's any way to take, or you know, to impeach Obama. You can impeach him, but he'd probably just say, well, I'm glad that's what you think, but I'm not going anywhere.
Well, you know, Doug, you know, I don't know, in today's world, you know, I mean, to have foresight and have a ball you can look into. But looking at the past, you know, I know darn well that all the AK-47s and weaponry and the automatic weapons were coming from China, and they were being imported into San Francisco, and the government was allowing it. And that's how they got mainstreamed all over. But a lot of them went down to Mexico because they say now, you know, the Americans are selling their weapons to these cartels. But the bottom line was, if you wanted an automatic weapon, you had to go to Mexico because AKs cost more than M16s. I can remember that because I remember they had at that time the Mongolia and them were fighting, and you could go over as a mercenary to Africa, and you know, if you was an ex-Marine or whatever, and go, you know, fight as a mercenary in I think it was Angola or someplace, but they've been fighting over there, you know, even during the time of Vietnam, and you know, nobody paid attention to it. But I'm just saying, it's just a global. Russia was making AKs and sending them to China, and China was sending them to North Vietnam, and then China was sending them to America. So it's a world market, man. And, you know, it's a banker's world, bud.
It's a banker's world. There you hit it. It's their world, but they have an agenda, and that agenda is to take the United States down. And and we're seeing that now. This Fast and Furious thing is probably because of all the other scandals. It's sort of pushed down, and nobody really talks about it that much. But they actually, our own government, bought all that shipload of guns and sold them or gave them away to the cartels down there so they could blame the gun outlets in the United States and have the pretext to be able to take them away. It's outlawed
I know.
The hypocrisy.
Yeah, but they have sometimes they have somebody sneak in and do a film thing on some guy selling weapons at these cartels. One person. You know what I mean? But that's just the tip of the iceberg, man. I mean, that's just a little. That's one little. You know what I mean? And one guy selling 10 weapons. He sold 4 or 5 weapons. You know what I mean? But that. They got them stockpiled. Now, you can't get weapons stockpiled from a dealer. That has to come from other countries or from our country or somewhere that running some revolution to even destroy Mexico. You know what I mean? Mexico's about ready to fall into the earth.
Oh yeah.
Colombia and all the South America. With this oil, and then the oil thing, and it's just there's so much that it makes your brain just float, you know what I mean? And all you can do is get on your hands and knees and pray and ask the Lord to give you guidance and strength to come to understand some of it, and hope that He's there when all this comes caving down on our heads,
Right. Yeah, exactly, and that's the consensus among conservative talk show hosts and libertarians who see all this coming down and who are awake.
They don't talk about the Lord. They don't even talk about the Lord. They don't know much. No Congress. Nobody. The only time they say is prayer. Well, we're praying for you after they killed 15 people in a theater with a machine gun. We're praying for you.
No, it's so hypocritical. It's unbelievable.
And I think it all started when the Constitution said we couldn't pray in school no more, couldn't blah blah blah, and that was back in the early 50s or 60s there when that all started, and that's when who says that we can't pray in school? The Constitution says we can't pray in school. Some people have.
It was the big issue then with Madeline O'Hare or whatever her name was.
Oh man, it was you know what I mean, and protect the what do they call the people that don't believe in anything? The devil himself.
Yeah.
They're atheists.
They had to have their rights preserved, but the Christian rights now they're not talked about. They don't have any rights, but the atheists, you had to uphold their rights. They had to have. They couldn't be offended by somebody praying in a public school. It's been unbelievable as they've done this, but we're running out of time. We've got a few minutes. Al, do you want to chip in just before we?
No, I was listening. It was Bob knows a lot about that. The guns and all that stuff. So that's kind of interesting. I never heard that before.
Yeah, well, you need to go to our update page on voicesfromthedust.org and watch those background videos. Boy, your eyes will be opened, to say the least. And then once you get a good background, you can understand what's going on in the other list of videos there, the slideshow of videos that are current events that you don't hear on network or cable television. And some of the things that Bob has had first-hand experience, eyewitness this stuff, so he was quick to pick up on a lot of the clues. Well, we've got 1 minute left. I appreciate you calling in. I don't know where Charles is. Maybe they tried to call in and didn't have the right number or something, but that would have been great to have him on as well.
Well, he's a California boy.
Yeah, yeah, he might have the opposite views. It's too bad we couldn't have gone in. We need to have an hour, but I'm going to say goodbye. We've only got 30 seconds left, so thanks for calling in, and let's do it again.
All right, stay in touch. God bless.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.
So, I hope everybody has a good weekend.